So, good morning, my dear girls. Let me name you like girls because of my age, but well, I'm sure you are not. Well, sorry about it, but so good morning to everybody. Today is a nice morning because I have the opportunity and the honor to greet the best part of the humanity, I'm sure, the best part of the humanity, our clever, pretty, and professional dear ladies. I personally convinced that this is true. That is why I'm sure that we may substantially contribute to the development of international taxation. What prevents us from making this happen, I assume that we shall discuss today. So thank you everybody for joining our session. And this session, as you know, is in the framework of Tax Week, Euro-Asia Tax Week held in Moscow. And we have a lot of sessions and discussions. And together with our leader, Natalia Luchkova, we decided that WIN session is also should be the part of this great event in Moscow. And we practiced this event second time. And we should say that the first one was a great success, but unfortunately the circumstances prevented us to do it last year. But I hope that we can try to use this opportunity and to speak to speak online and to exchange our views on what is happening what is happening today and what prevents us from doing our professional work because of this situation, or probably not because of this pandemic situation. Anyway, I'm sure that we shall have some interesting issues to discuss, and I wish all of us an interesting discussion and a good time. So I would like to pass the word to Natalia Luchkova. She will introduce the speakers and give us the framework of our discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irina. Thank you very much. And I just wonder, is Ros-ИФА the only ИФА branch where there is a female president, or are there more?
Yeah, this is a good question. It seems to me, yes, I'm the one. I'm the one, but really, it's an interesting thing. And please note that actually in 1994, so the General Secretary of the ИФА proposed me being the employee of Ministry of Finance of the Soviet Union to organize the branch in Russia. And so they were so nice to see in me the leader of not the woman WIN ИФА, but actually the professional. That was an interesting issue because I was proposed, mention it the lady was proposed, not the man have been chosen, the Russian men have been chosen, well, to lead this international tax issue in Russia. And it was quite interesting, quite interesting. Actually, there were two ladies in Russia, me and Lyudmila Mamet, also the legend lady in tax issues in international taxation. And so we two, well, started to discuss the international tax issues with Western professional men. And I should say that we use this opportunity, being a woman, to probably to show that the profession of tax lawyer is not only the men's profession. And so it was interesting. Well, I can contribute in future saying some interesting moments in development of international tax issue within the IFA.
Okay, great. And obviously you are a great example in this, for this session and in general. Yeah, I would like to thank all participants of this session, and I do not believe, and I'm so happy about the geography we managed to gather, all the countries we managed to gather together, because we start from Asia, from India, we go to Europe, and then not yet, I guess, but the idea is that we also go to Americas, because we are about to have a speaker from Uruguay, who is still not here because I think of time difference, and it's far too much a challenge to join it in the midst of the night. But still, we are hoping that our colleague from Uruguay would join. And just as a symbol, I chose to sit in the meeting room, and because there is a painting showing. It's supposed to be a map. Doesn't look like, but it is a map. Just trust me. And let me first introduce all the speakers that for some we're still waiting, but absolute majority is already online. My name is Natalia Luchkova. I'm a partner from a tax team firm. I'm based in Amsterdam mainly, but used to commute until 2020 back to Russia on a regular basis. And I'm the coordinator of Russian WIN-IFA initiative. Let me first start with Russia as a host country. We have here Maria Kukla, who is a partner in FTL Advisors. And we have already online Alexandra Kadet, who is the head of transfer pricing and cross-border transactions department of Russian Federal Tax Service. We go a bit to the west, and we have Svetlana Musienko, who is the partner at Sayenko-Kharenko in Kyiv, in Ukraine. We go to then a bit further to the east. We have Romana Giesen, who is the head of tax group at Swisscom in Switzerland. We have, I should have started with that. Sorry for that, geographically, big mistake. We have Savina Mikhailova Galeminova, who is associate professor of the Faculty of Economics and Business of Sofia University in Bulgaria. We are still waiting. She might join, but it's a bit under question. Ms. Brigitte Fassbender, who is a partner at BF Tax in Germany. Then later, we still hope to see Ms. Patricia Marquez, who is a partner at PwC in Uruguay. And we make the complete round, and we end up in India with Karisha Fatafikar, sorry, who is a partner at Deloitte in India. And yeah, I'm so excited, and I'm so happy to have all these speakers from literally all over the world. But here my happiness stops, and what we had before 2020 is it was already been an issue, gender representation within tax profession. And it's been discussed. There were many complaints, and I was a bit shocked to receive from one of our colleagues, by the way, who is present here in this panel, from Maria Kukla, thank you very much, the table, which was a result of Chamber's research, I guess, something like that. And it had depicted the representation per branch within law profession, and try to guess how many women there were in tax. I would, just from my personal feeling, I would say it should have been 30, 40, up to 50%, and it was 17, which is, I would say it's totally non-noticeable minority, number-wise. I just wonder, what's the problem with it? Maybe the number is totally fake, or it's the reality that we face. And so what I would like everybody, every speaker to say, to share is what's your feeling about these numbers and all the problems and issues that women face in tax profession in your country. How do you feel the situation is in general? How do you feel the situation is within your firm? Because it might differ within certain businesses, within certain firms. And also, I expect there would be a bit of a difference because we don't have people only from business, not only from consulting side. We also have people from university, and we have people from revenue services. Maybe there the situation is better. You can never know. So can you please tell me what you think about this? And also, as an extra question, we all go through different times. There was COVID, there were all the measures, you can think whatever of them connected to COVID, there were lockdowns, people were working from home, economics all over the world dropped down. What do you see happening in connection with gender matter during these COVID times, in combination with COVID and everything was connected to it? So what do you think about all this? Yeah, that's it. Whom shall I ask first? Maria, maybe we'll start with Russia as a host country. Maria, would you start on this?
Sure, it will be a pleasure. I will turn the video. Well, first of all, hello everyone. Glad to see you here in this text event. First of all, I would like to start with this figure, with this 17% of women in taxes. And it may be said to confirm that I believe that if we mention the nominal tax practitioners as a tax lawyers in the law firms, indeed there are less women in taxes than there are overall tax practitioners, because most of the tax inspectors, as we meet every day, are women. Most of the accountants who deal with the tax matters, who actually deal them on a day-to-day basis, are women. But the nominal practitioners in litigation and tax issues, in working with the clients' taxes, are indeed men. So this split between the practitioners who handle day-to-day taxation issues and the known, well-represented lawyers in the tax matters, it really exists, because most of the practitioners are women, most of the known people in taxes are men. And it is what we have here in Russia. But we should still know that most of those people who handle the issues, who meet all the hardships related with the COVID tax implications or taxation issues that, well, we are facing because of the overall economical situation, they're indeed women, and it's hard times for everyone, but for professional women being in taxes or in other professions, well, we are in most pressured situation, because, well, luckily for Russians, those homeschooling issues that influence most of the women, they are over. But we feel that our European colleagues still face hardships, because it's really difficult to work, to perform the way you are expected. Then you have to arrange schooling issues from home for several children. And these are women mostly who deal with these issues. So we got more work to do, not only in professional way, but in arranging our out of work activities, our home life. And what we should also mention, what COVID implications, we got more female clients, because more women are triggered by taxation issues. They are thinking more of the household finances and how the taxation could be improved, the tax issues. There are lots of sort of, we call it forced residency issues that influence taxation of the household, and it's more often than women have to deal with it. And what the other implication, maybe it's not a gender issue, but for overall, and it will be really interesting to know if it's true for other jurisdictions. But we see an extremely growing interest in compliance issues, and especially in tax compliance. So many of the clients who were maybe pretty much relaxed on their compliance issues, either because of the COVID times and they got more time at home, or because of the growing economic pressure from the tax authorities, from the bank, but they are now paying more and more attention to being tax compliant, and it's more work for the tax advisors, and a really growing field. That's what I'm ready to share for now. Maybe if you have some special question on how the tax consultancy sphere works here around, how we are implicated, I'm happy to address them.
Maria, but I know that your firm is quite unique. Basically, I would expect it to be quite different from a general market situation. As far as I remember, maybe it changed, and maybe you became more open and not such sexist as you used to be, because I know that you have only female partners within your firm.
Right now, in fact, we became maybe not more sexist. We are still open. We are absolutely open-minded. We are welcoming men, but we are less diversified from the gender point of view, because last time we met, we have one male, a secretary, and now we do not have any males at all. So all of the partners, all of the lawyers in our firm, and all of the paralegals are now and indeed females. So yeah, we are really unique. We don't have any male at all, and it's hard to talk about men being the only practitioners. Then all the partners in our firm and all the lawyers and specialists dealing with tax issues are women. But yeah, I believe that we are in a rather unique position on Russian market, and as this Chamber survey shows, maybe in European market at all.
Yeah, but why? Can you reflect on this a bit? Why is it like that? Don't you like guys? Like, what problem?
No, absolutely.
Shortly, one question. I'm sorry, it's Romana from Switzerland. But for me, the question is more, why do we need to talk about if it's more women? We don't discuss this point when it's more men than it's usual. So I don't think that's, I think we should go over that bias at least to discuss why is it that point, because that's quite normal when it's the other way around. We don't like it, but it's normal. Shouldn't we take this as the new normal and think, how could we go there too?
It's a very good remark, I believe, but well, still everybody asking why there are more women, and it will be, yeah, really a good time when all the women law firms will not surprise no one. But as from our partners from Switzerland, from our partners from Canada, from our partners from US, so who are all very tolerant countries with a well-developed feminism and everything, we still have those questions. Why don't you have a male partners? Where are your men? It will be, well, maybe some time should pass when this question shall not occur. But, well, that's what we face. We are still open, and then we opened position, and we now have some open positions for lawyers, and we welcome every professional. We're not looking on a gender, we are looking on a professional qualities. And well, fortunately, unfortunately, but it's what the way it is. For now, we are having more women who are ready to work, ready to meet all the hardships, very flexible in all the situation, and are ready to tackle all the pending ongoing issues and deal with home life, legal proceedings, ongoing tax questions, the way most of the men are either reluctant or do not feel such free with it. And the other question is not men, most of the men are not ready to work with all the women partners. So it's not our bias against men, but it's maybe some bias of some lawyers against the woman being as a head of practice.
That basically gives us a very interesting point, because maybe it's the same problem as firms that are dominated by men, and that creates the situation where it stays like this. But let's move then still within Russia. Alexandra, may I ask you to share your experiences and your views, because I know that you have some men, at least some of them we see on TV. And how the situation is within the revenue service.
Thank you, Natalia, and I'll try to be brief because for me, I am more probably a listener today because I'm trying to pick some ideas from what we're discussing. For the Federal Tax Service, the situation is as follows. We have over 60% of personnel in general represented by female professionals. However, if we take the top executives, we have 25% of the deputy commissioners and heads of the department in the central office of the Federal Tax Service. So for us, it very much depends on what we are talking about. The general of the Federal Tax Service seems like we are more represented by women, but our leaders are represented by men. I would say that we don't have any specific requirements here, and I don't really see that we have any issues in this area so far. However, if we refer to our today's topic and specifically the COVID obstacles, this is probably where all women working within the Federal Tax Service faced a lot of pressure, specifically because for the reasons that you already stated. Those who had to work from home, a lot of people, I mean, a lot of family members didn't realize that that women kept working. They tend to think that it's something like semi-vacation or something. So all the responsibilities that usually we have when we stay at home, we had it in full, in addition to what we had to do for work. This is one thing. The other thing is that there were, for us, for those who stayed actually at work, and all the executives work like this, me as well. For us, it was also very difficult because there were no real difference in attitude, and this means that nobody appreciated that this takes an extra effort to especially psychologically to keep things going. So I would say that here, on one hand, it is good that there is no special circumstance, special conditions for women working in the Federal Tax Service. So we make no difference when we employ men or women. But on the other hand, this is probably the point where when we would start thinking that there should be a little bit more, how to put it correctly, a little bit more attention made to the conditions in which women are working in the Federal Tax Service.
I've heard that, do you think that it might be connected, at least what I've heard, that within revenue service, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure from all sides. And do you think that the fact that you have more women, but at the top position they are getting less and less women, it's connected to that? Or there are some more it's also the question whether it's an artificial obstacle or a natural one.
Well, I think it's actually generally works for probably most organizations, not only revenue service. I think that the major two reasons is, first of all, this, let's call it appetite for risk and stress. Because, for instance, I probably should be noting that after a certain position, we don't have unlimited labor contracts. We have 1-year contracts. So it means that you live in a situation where every year you are re-employed by the Federal Tax Service. And of course, for those who want a more stable employment, and women usually tend to have a little bit less appetite for risk, or at least not because they want it, but because they feel responsibility for their family and everything. So that could be one reason. And the other reason, of course, it doesn't actually matter if it's a man or a woman, but we all want our team, and we built our team with which we feel comfortable working. So depending on what is a preference of a particular person, even it's not discussed or it's not declared, some men prefer to work with women, some men will prefer to work with men and vice versa. So it very much depends on who actually is bringing up this, bringing together this team for their particular challenge or particular function. So, for example, in my department, it's practically half and half. I have two deputies. One is a woman, the other is a man, and one half half of my employees are male, and they work with my male deputy. The other is female, and they work with my female deputy. So but altogether we are 50-50. So with me on top of my department. And before that, we have also the female top of the department. And before that, we had a male top of the department. So it changes over time, and it very much depends on the person. So I'm not sure I'm ready to make a trend here.
Okay, so it's more person oriented than gender oriented. I see.
Yes.
Okay. Shall we ask, because I guess Ukraine culture-wise, due to history and to many and geography and many other aspects, I would expect in gender matters, Ukraine be quite comparable to Russia. Let's see whether that's the case or not. Svetlana, can you share, can you comment on that?
Hi, dear ladies. Thank you for having me here today. Very glad to see all of you. Natalia, I would refrain from commenting, comparing, and contrasting our two countries. It's a deep philosophic question. I think I'd rather start with talking what we have in Ukraine now, and we can take it from that. And personally, it's difficult for me to judge because I come from Russia. I was born in Urals, in Chelyabinsk, then I moved to Ukraine. So in a way, I'm an insider, and it's difficult to me to lay down the boundaries. And anyway, we're talking now female context more than geography. So in Ukraine, I think if we look down back into history, I think there is a perception of those strong women which always were there to step up and to replace their men should the need be. So if we're talking archetypes, I would think that a Ukrainian woman is like a strong one. And on top of things, if we look at the surface of things in our society, it's not bad. Actually, I think it's quite good. Of course, all equal rights are guaranteed. Of course, there is no obvious discrimination, and there is no discrimination on a normative legal level, I would say so. And of course, there is tons of very smart and hardworking and dedicated girls and women working in our industry. Interestingly, though, we do have an issue with representation of female leaders at top levels of whatever organization we would pick up. So to give you an example, last year there was a very nice overview of the Ukrainian legal market, and now let's not separate text from legal. Let's talk legal market as a whole. And there were some very interesting facts picked up, and these are as follows. At a starting point, there is an equal number of young professionals, boys and girls, who are entering the legal market, who start their career as junior lawyers, as paralegals, as interns, or as lawyers. So it's roughly 50-50. Then when it comes to a level of senior associates, there is more or less equal balance too, though male professionals a little bit prevail at this point, with them taking around 55 of 100. And then, much to my surprise, and surprise here comes kind of sarcasm, when it comes to the top level positions in consulting business, there is approximately just 30 to 35% of female partners or managing partners across the firms present here. So my biggest question as an employer is what happens to that all talented, hardworking girls who made it to the level of senior associate, but didn't make it to the level of the partner? Why they are stuck there? Where do they go, and what happened to them? And I think anyone who would answer that question and who would really understand the underwater currents which shape the status quo, so that person would unlock the huge HR talent and potential, because it's very difficult, as you would all know and appreciate, to raise a person, to nurture it, to shape it as a professional, to see him or her grow from the entry point to a senior levels, for him or her just to stop progressing with growing further in your firm or in the other firm. So I'm very much not concerned, but I'm very much enthusiastic about being an ambassador of the message that we need more female leaders in the profession. Why? Not only because it pays well, that's important. Nobody would argue with that, but mostly because we want influence. We need to shape the market. We need to shape the trends, and we need to be part of the bigger discussion. And the only way you can do that is to be there, is to be the leader, is to lead by example, to be taken seriously. So you need to be equally represented at top level position. That's overall about the market. I never did a comparison between like legal market as a whole and tax market as a part of it. And by the way, tax is not exactly a part of legal. It's in between legal and accounting. That's another very interesting topic. But I would expect tax numbers are more or less the same. So we do need more female leaders in our tax industry as well. In our own firms, in our own firm at Sayenko-Kharenko, we have more male partners than female ones. I'm okay with that. It never happens overnight. You have to build it. You have to build the story. I'm head of tax. With the firm, I have a team of approximately, depending on how you make a head account of junior colleagues, of 11 people. And I think we're more or less, boys and girls are in equal numbers. So I never did that on purpose. The gender balance just created itself by itself, I would say. So I really don't pay that my attention with whom I'm dealing. Is it a woman or man? I'm primarily focused on professional merits, and I think this is the way to go. However, with one important remark, there is some debate on our market and in our professional sphere whether any types of quotas would be good to re-establish the proper gender balance. Of course, here we're not talking about private business, we're not talking about consulting business, because it's virtually impossible to levy any quotas on privately run business, right? But as a matter of principle, we have some like governmental or parliamentary and other organizations where it's not privately held, where it's requires more equal representation. And I was thinking about that matter, and I think I am a proponent. I upheld the position that more than quotas, we need mentorship, we need support, we need guidance, because I really am very much fond of meritocratia, how to say it in English. Please help me, Natalia.
I'm not a native speaker. I guess it's pretty much.
When you are judged and when you are judged based on your merits only, right? So the best people must be incentivized to come forward. And if we see that a lot of women and girls are talented, but they're not coming forward, you should not probably drag them forward, but you should help them to open their potential. But so I'm fond of more natural way of helping out them, and whenever I'm being asked to mentor, to provide some advice, to provide support, be it general or specific, I'm always there for ladies in my company and to my colleagues at the market, just to have a talk of what it takes to become a leader and stay a leader at this predominantly male-dominated market. So that's all on female leadership. And your second question was about COVID, right?
Yeah.
Whether it changed the way things go. I think it does. I think it does. I never did a research on my own, but I saw some very scary messages from Sheryl Sandberg. I believe she published a report on the U.S. labor market and the place or the position of female leadership at that market because of the COVID. And some of the observations made in that report, I think, equally apply to not only to the US, but to the rest of the world, or at least to Ukraine, that's for sure. Of course, women take the biggest part of home care, of child care, elder person care, and it's just the way it is, right? And it's getting more difficult, I think, for us and for our colleagues to get by, and I think it's gonna take a toll. I think it's gonna manifest itself probably at a later stage when some further decisions on progress and promotions would be taken, because clearly if a person is working 2 or 3 several jobs, full-time jobs at the same time, it often it often affects the performance, right? And if we are really evaluating our colleagues based on the performance, then the chances are that those whose performance was affected by other factors are gonna are going to pay the toll. I'm not very much happy about that, but I don't know what to do with it, honestly. I think nobody has an answer right now, except for offering friendly support and maybe a chance to talk about that and share experiences. I don't know what else we can do about it.
Oh, sorry. Svetlana, let me be a bit of devil advocate, because don't you think, because you mentioned really, it's a fact, I see it myself, that if you take university, if you take the best universities, it will be 50-50, if not more girls there. Talented, smart, bright, brilliant girls. If you take junior, middle, senior positions, it will be so many girls, and then they disappear. But don't you think the problem is pretty much on women's side? Because for a woman, especially once she has a child, she chooses to rely on her partner, husband, whoever it is. Because she thinks it's fine enough, it's okay what I have. I'm not gonna overstretch for this extra money, because there is money coming from into the family. If we're talking about traditional family, it comes from the other side. Isn't that the problem, in fact?
Yeah, I think it's part of the equation. You are totally right. And we're not trying to say that to become a top player at the market should necessarily be a goal for any woman or any female professional, for that matter. All I care about is that all the women and all the girls who want it, they have a chance to get it, right? And of course, we all make our own choices. And of course, we are all, men and women alike, making our own sacrifices and building our own lifestyle and etc., etc. So I wouldn't say that it's someone's fault. I'm observing it from the perspective of can I do something differently, not to help those women, those girls who are in principle are interested to go down that route, but they have some stumbling blocks on their way. Can I do something for them to unlock it? It's not necessarily their choice of relying on the husband. It may be the case, but not necessarily. There could be some how to, just a second, I'm thinking about proper word. Some assumptions in their mentality, right? Deep under the surface of things, we're still quite a patriarchal society, and each and every girl in Ukraine, from the very beginning of her life, hears a lot of messages that the girls should be nice, that the girls should be smiling all the time, that the girls should not argue too much because otherwise you won't look pretty. And I think all these messages are kept somewhere inside of each and everyone's girl head, because you cannot get rid of them very easily. And I think all those assumptions and thoughts, they are subconsciously maybe influencing our level of assertiveness, our level of self-determination, our level of internal power. And this is a personal choice for any of us, or any of the female practitioners, to try and see whether there is the case and whether she wants to do something about it. Yeah.
I see it's quite a dilemma. Yeah, for sure, for all of us, it's quite a dilemma. Karishma, may I ask you to join the discussion and also share what you see in India? Because from outsider, from people outside of India, it looks like a completely different culture, including gender-wise. What do you see in India in this respect, and in your firm and in industry?
Right. Am I audible, Natalia? Hi, am I audible?
Absolutely, we can hear you and see you.
Okay, okay. Right. So, yeah, gender diversity is a very overly spoken topic in India. I mean, just if I were to, mention in India, actually, it's even more predominant than some of the other countries. So, there's a recent diversity benchmarking report that had come out, and this report in India was carried out by interviewing 300 plus corporates, India's workforce in general, to understand what's the female population. So what came out of this report was that the economic participation of women in the workforce in 2018 was actually 23%, which was a significant drop from 32% in 2016. So it is a universally acknowledged issue that bridging the gender gap in India is not just a dire need, but it's quite a Herculean task. Considering our cultural preferences, we've seen multiple challenges that women have to go through in India, like to manage a work-family balance, choice of job profiles, the workplace conditions. Other factors are mindset and attitudinal changes of supporting family members. So I would say that, the needle is moving, but we need to significantly improve in terms of our gender diversity. Now, if I were to talk in terms of Deloitte, Deloitte, we've been putting in a lot of effort in the last couple of years, and we've been able to move to actually a 50-50 ratio, which is a great achievement, I would think. But this is up to the manager level. So as these people progress upwards to the path of partnership, the ratio actually comes down to around 20%, which is also, in my view, not too bad. We in fact initiated a global campaign which is called the Sponsor Program, where senior women partners and senior men partners will actually mentor younger aspiring women professionals who want to actually grow up the ladder, to kind of show them the path, how to balance out things, etc. So a lot of effort is being put in this area. Also, I don't know if you all know, but from the government side also, the government actually, to enhance gender diversity in the professional world for women, they introduced under the Companies Act a mandatory requirement to have one woman director on the board of directors. And this was done a couple of years back. So actually that opened up a lot of positions for women aspiring to get on to board of directors for, reputed companies. So in general, I would say that it's an area that needs to be worked upon. Things are moving, but a lot of the colleagues here spoke about tax profession per se, and tax versus legal. So if I was to give you some landscape there on the India side, in the tax profession, I would say we're still better off. I would say on an average, we would see, if I were to take up to manager and above managers, I would see at least a 30% women ratio. And on the legal front, because legal and tax is different in India, it's not the same. On the legal side, the ratio is very less. I mean, we have very few legal lawyers who are women, successful lawyers. So that's the broad landscape in India, Natalia, in terms of the gender diversity.
I see, but about because what we saw in the news, COVID hit India quite severely. It was especially the we were all following the news, how it was going per country. Everybody was comparing the situation, like trying to see how it was. Long-term perspective, like looking at that, what do you think this is going to do to gender situation in India? How was it during? I can imagine that COVID is still around, so all the obstacles are still around. So, and women in tax professions still need to deal with it. So, how do you see the situation right now, and how do you think it might develop in the future? Would it have long-term effect? Because it was quite a shock, honestly, to all societies.
Right. It's an interesting question from an Indian perspective. COVID, I would say, has been quite a boon for working mothers. Generally in India, we did not have the mindset of women working from home. So prior to COVID, we had situations where, working mothers, working wives, housewives, they all needed to be in office from 9 to maybe, our profession in tax demands actually not 9 to 6, but 9 to 9. So it was long working hours for women prior to COVID. I think what COVID really taught us in India was a huge mindset change, where leaders, where managers realized that working from home is not unproductive, but can actually be very productive, both in terms of for the employee as well as for the employer. So in that sense, I would think that, the COVID related work aspects that were learned will go a long way, Natalia, to help women continue their careers, because now I think employers, managers are pretty open to women coming to office twice a week, working 3 days from home, managing the work hours. It's all got virtual, right? I mean, also another very important factor in our profession is travel. And when we have families we have to take care of, and we don't have that support system, traveling becomes a problem. And now again, as we all have been able to, I mean, I wouldn't have imagined coming to Russia to attend this meeting, right? I mean, because it's on a virtual platform, I mean, I got the advantage to meet all the young ladies in the group and understand different perspectives and share my perspective. So I think COVID virtualization has helped and will go a long way, at least in the Indian context, to change the way the work culture was, and it will definitely help improve gender diversity. That's my view.
Let me just, during COVID times, when all the offices were closed here in Amsterdam, we're also quite flexible for not only women, but also for men working in the office, flexible with the way they work, but totally vice versa. Please feel free to go to the office, because there's hardly anybody, so no risk, and work from the office, because that's the way you can escape from screaming toddlers and school children that you need to force to do their homework at the same time while having conference calls and signing contracts and do your stuff. And trust me, it was extremely appreciated. People were just running away to the office to get back to normality a bit. And
yeah, I just want to add one more point. Sorry, I missed that in my update part. The tax, the revenue, the Indian revenue, which is the tax department, they also caught up very well in the COVID phase. I mean, in India, we had the mindset of going for physical hearings. Telephone conversations or virtual hearings were not entertained. The tax courts, the courts, including the tax audits, all moved to a virtual platform. So in the tax world, in fact, currently we are seeing a huge shift where the entire tax administration has moved to online virtual, audits and appeals. And that according to me, there are two advantages. One, in fact, we have something called the faceless audits. I don't know if you have heard of this, but faceless would mean that you wouldn't even know in the technology side who you're talking to, who is actually assessing your case on the other side. So this is to actually reduce, biases. This is to reduce target pressures that tax officers have and take some unreasonable tax positions. This is to reduce corruption and many of those aspects. So I think this is also another significant in the COVID era. One of the very great changes that we could make on the tax administration side is to move to a virtual and a faceless audit mechanism, including appeals and the court mechanism. So that's again an important update from the India region, Natalia.
I see. Thank you very much. But I think that's really the future, that more and more things, also when things get normal, will be done remotely and online, including a communication with the revenue services and maybe like courts. Maybe partly they will stay like that. Alexandra, may I ask you, from tax service point of view, do you think that's the future, and do you think that this is what COVID will bring, or maybe something else?
Yes, thank you. And actually, I was thinking through our discussion about the opportunities that are given to us. Really naturally, we all through this year, I mean 2020, we all get used we all accustomed using the online conferences as the format that allows us to easily communicate for work. And as we started with the discussion about how do we promote and support women in our profession, I think that this is probably something we can consider as an instrument that allows us to coordinate easier and to maybe think of some sort of regular events that provide support to those who want to develop themselves in the profession. So because we all agree, and this is public knowledge today, that network and communication is probably one of the major how to put it most important factors that influence us in our profession, especially when we are talking about tax law. And giving the opportunity for younger specialists, younger professionals, I mean female professionals, to discuss and coordinate and share their views. And even though we are talking about the same topics that are discussed everywhere, but making this a special friendly environment where there can be topics related to technical tax issues and can be topic related to building up career and things like that as well, maybe can be viewed as some option for us to consolidate this work, because as I understand from our previous speakers, this is where we all agree that we need to put effort in, because we want our colleagues to grow together with us and our younger professionals to grow as well. So this is probably something that COVID actually gave us. because today we can, as today's event shows, it's relevantly easy to arrange that type of communication, and it's not necessarily need to be a huge amount of persons every time, but at least it can be a place where tax professionals will come and discuss their needs, their ideas, technical issues, and everything. So this is how I view at the moment what we can do to make our next steps in developing this profession and females in this profession effectively.
I would like to ask you, Alexandra, and also our other speakers on the following. But don't you think that all these online developments and shifting to being more flexible, partly working from home, partly working from office, which is seen as a kind of great advantage also for women, in fact, is a bit tricky, because then what women will have, they will have all the households, children, families, and everything will still stay on them, even more on them, because I would expect there would be more tendency of women working from home. At the same time, all their professional duties will stay with them. Yeah, honestly, if it stays like this, I will get suicidal. Like a toddler jumping on your head and you've been in the office only twice a week. Not such an attractive picture.
Well, here I'd say that it's as usually it's not done immediately. We need some time to adapt. I mean, all of us, and it's only can be done with appreciation and clear view on how this type of work and involvement can be structured properly. So it means that we are moving from, let's say, a standardized approach when you have people in the office and you can require specific discipline from everyone. Irrespective of anything. It's just how it works in your office, right? You have working hours from this to that, and so on, so we will have to, I mean, both sides, the employer and the employee, if we want to take advantage of this, we have to, first of all, provide an option, as our colleagues, as you actually described, if someone wants or needs to work from office, they will have this opportunity. They need to have this opportunity. For those who can effectively and efficiently work from home, it can be done, but with respect to the specifics. For example, there can be a shift in working hours, or there can be a break during the daytime for someone picking their kids from school. So it means that employers and employees have to build a specific type of relationship, which differs from what we had before. And if done so, I think both sides will eventually win from this situation, because if it's a choice of a person to work in this circumstances in this manner, it gives us an opportunity to actually employ a highly qualified specialists. If we allow them to stay at home, you probably save a lot, because there will be not 40 hours per week, but let's say 30 hours per week of 20 hours per week. So you employ a person part-time with a very high professional standard, simply because you allowed working him or her from home. So I think it's an opportunity, and it's a challenge, of course. So, but if we try to be productive in this area, the result would be win-win.
I see your point. I see your point, and I hope it works that way, and not the way I'm expected to go. Maria, are you still there? Maria, I would like to ask you the same question. How do you think COVID would influence the things in tax industry within your firm and in gender situation?
Well, as any crisis, it leads to women and the advisors having more work. And well, from the point of business, I believe any crisis is a good thing because it allows us to develop more, to find some problems that could be solved and some efficient solutions for the business development and for our clients. From the point of view gender issue, it's going to be more and more hard because we are feeling those pressure. But as Alexandra said, there are more and more opportunities that are to be supported, and that may benefit women in the profession and make us more visible, and change the 17% of women represented in chambers ratings of tax professionals that we studied in our discussions to more realistic rates depicting the influence of women in our profession. So I'm rather optimistic on the implications of the current COVID crisis on overall development on the gender situation and the situation in the tax profession.
Let me a bit of provocative question to you. As a result of COVID, are you going to balance out the gender proportion within your firm, or there is nothing to do with COVID? And
I believe it's really nothing to do because, as I've mentioned, we are open to any professional who is ready to join and work in our community, considering all the specifics on working with the all women partners. So yeah, it's a challenge for any man who is ready to join. It's a professional challenge, it's a soft skill challenge, but we are more than welcoming for such a lawyer who is ready to join and take this challenge. So I won't believe it will change somehow, but we are still very, very flexible and open to the development, as any women in our profession is.
So for all the male in tax that happen to watch this video, there is a great opportunity for all, not for all, only for talented and smart and devoted to profession.
Indeed. Indeed, it is.
Irina,
we are very welcome.
Yes, so you use this platform also as a kind of advertising for
yeah
position.
Yeah, it's never lose an opportunity to welcome all the talented lawyers who are ready to join us.
Yes, great. Irina, because I guess some of the speakers had to leave the panel to attend something urgent. Do you want to give some final remarks and a bit reflect on everything what our colleagues from all over the world shared about the situation they see?
Well, actually, first of all, I would like to thank all our women who participated in the discussion, first of all, and their input really was very interesting. And as we may see that this issue, participation of women in economic life, in tax developments in all countries, is not probably the issue of specific agenda or a specific gender agenda, is the question of some other great things which we have to face in our economic life. But at the same time, we may say that, first of all, we may say that women really do a great job, because, well, by nature, they are women, which has to take care, first of all, of the family, then develop herself professionally, participate in active economic and political and other life. And the situation which we face now really gives from one side a great pressure for us, and from the other side gives us a great opportunity, because the employers do have the possibility from one side to give more flexible regime to the ladies with children to work from home. And this is, to me, it seems to me that it will give in future great possibility for those who can show their professional capabilities and do their work working from home. And this is a great opportunity. And so the situation proves that, well, women may work from home successfully, even bringing up the children and doing all other homework. But from the other side, we may say that it continue enrich great pressure for women, because to work from home and to do all other things professionally, not so easy. That is why we have to find some other potentials in our activity, and we have to organize our work. We have to balance. Well, this work-life balance may be the greatest issue in future for the women. But it's an interesting thing that ladies now try to prove that they could not only do homework, but also they are professionally educated. And I see that different countries deal with this balance between male and female differently. But I agree with some of our speakers that sometimes it more or less depends on the personalities and depends on the attitude of concrete people. Some do prefer to work with women, some other prefer to work with men. But me personally, I'm sure that women is a great power, and we can prove that we can do absolutely everything. There is nothing that we cannot do what our men do. That is why we are sure that we can prove in future that we are deserve to be leaders, we are deserve to be partners in our practice, and we are deserve to be those who can be not only well appreciated but also adored in our profession and in our life.
That's a very inspiring inspiring speech. And about what people managed to do, Birgit Fassbender from Germany managed to join us. You are right in time, Birgit. We discussed experiences from different countries, from India to Russia to Ukraine. Unfortunately, our Swiss and Bulgarian colleagues had to leave already. May I ask you a very brief question so you can summarize how you see things from Germany?
Yeah.
My first question to you is, how gender matter is within the industry, within tax industry, and within your firm, in your view, and how did it? How do you think it would change as post-COVID effect? Because we see that COVID changed a lot socially, economically, I don't know, whatever, medically, and changed all aspects of our lives. What do you think would happen in gender agenda in your country, in Germany, and in your industry?
Yeah. Well, I started with Win Germany because I saw that it is very difficult for ladies to make a career in the tax industry. Indeed, and I wanted to build up a network, of course, for myself also. And I saw that we were only 10 or 15% of ИФА members were ladies in 2015. And then we started this network, and I was aware that a lot of ladies are working in companies, much more than in advisory branches. So I have the impression that the gender aspect is now in mind of the people in charge. So I saw companies that do not give projects to advisory firms that not have female partners in their partnership. The panels are with women. It's not possible to have a panel without any women in Germany now. And on the other hand, I see COVID makes it more difficult, of course, for women to combine private and business life. It makes it on one side, it makes it easier because you can join meetings, and you can join meetings in the evening. You're much more flexible to work. That is my experience. But on the other side, those ladies that have children at home, they can only work in the morning or in the evening, and it's much more difficult. So I'm not sure how it will work out at the end in Germany, because I see a very progressive development for the visibility of women in tax, because now we have more ladies on boards of ИФА regional groups, for instance. We have more ladies on panels of seminar conferences and congresses. And if I heard right, then at the ИФА Congress in Berlin, there will be 50% female chairs on the panels. This is a great success. But on the other hand, you are right, COVID makes it much more difficult for ladies to work, also in Germany. Yeah.
But do you think things that, because it was quite a social shock, all the measures and everything what was going on around COVID and
Yes.
COVID measures. Don't you believe that this would that would be a bit of a wake-up call? Like like hello, it's not only women who makes it who make lunches for children to go to school. It's not only women to take care of these things. Or wasn't it enough?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this will last for the future. I see that it's more easier to, for instance, you don't have to go to another city to have meetings now. You can do it online, and this is something also the men and the women do, and it makes it easier. I'm not sure if it is a wake-up call in Germany, because we have a lot of conservative people around in the industry here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see much of optimism in your eyes. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think no, I will think will have a change because we have a lot of young ladies that are well educated, and they want to make career, and that now they have a support, and they have a network. They build up network. It's much more than in when I was younger, because it's normal now. It's normal. We have seen in the last 5 years, I would say, a lot of more networking between women, and this is something that helps for career a lot. So I think this will change the situation, but not due to COVID. I think I'm not sure if COVID really helps at the end, because on the other side, if you work at home and you had not the chance to be in at the office, then you have less chances to talk with persons in charge. You have to actively speak with them to make appointments with persons in charge or with persons who can support you. And this is sometimes ladies don't do, not enough, let's say. So that makes it harder to be seen in the company and to develop the own career in COVID times, I think. But I see that this networking part is much easier now with webinars and with web talks, and I've seen that there are a lot more networking between women and in other networks with men and women too. Yeah.
Yeah, on this I absolutely agree. And by the way, right now I know whom to address the question: should my clients have German tax matters to discuss?
Yeah, great.
And it works for it works for networking. It works for all the speakers at this panel. It works for this is also what it is for.
Mhm.
Not only discuss the same agenda, but improve and increase your professional network all over the world. Because some of our speakers had to leave, and does anybody have some final remarks on the matter, or we would already finalize our session? Okay, then I think we're pretty much there. We're pretty much done. What I see is that what I was secretly hoping for, namely that the shock to the society connected to COVID would structurally change profession, would make, as I already said, make everybody wake up, would be a kind of wake-up call. From everything I've heard today, I don't think it's going to happen. So
We will do our best.
we have to work hard on this.
We will do our best.
Yeah.
So
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all panelists who stayed until the very end, and those that had to leave. I also thank audience, and our session will be available online. I think everybody has the link, so everybody who couldn't, had no time to watch it now can watch it after on YouTube. And thank you very much.
Natasha, thank you very much for your job being a moderator. And I would like also to thank all the participants and wish ladies have a success, be wealthy and healthy, and have a very good time, professional time and family time. And also, I would like to say thank you the firm Deloitte, which supported our translation today, in not only today, but actually our Euro-Asian technical support in all our tax week. So thank you very much, colleagues. We appreciate it and hope we shall be in touch with all ladies, professional ladies, well, on professional basis and on private basis as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.